Hi, welcome back to another video from Java for Beginners course from Course Labs. In this video, we're going to talk about constructors. Constructor is a special type of method that is typically used to initialize an object. Let's first write a simple constructor here so you'll understand what I'm really talking about. So basically, if you have a class, we typically have methods like this: display. We have been seeing such methods here. Now, rather than writing this particular display method, we can also write a method like this. And if you notice, the name of this method is exactly the same as the class, the name of the class that we have here. Let's remove this. Basically, constructors will not have any return types. Okay, so when you write this particular mobile method, basically this is what is known as a constructor. So what is the use of this constructor? If you have constructors, you will have greater control over the initialization of the object. We can greatly control the initialization of these objects using these constructors. So let's see how we can use them. Now what I'm going to do is, this is a default constructor that I'm writing here. Typically a default constructor doesn't have any return types, right? So let me just write it down. I'm just creating a variable here, int I, and if I just system.out.println, and the value of I just going to be printed here. So that's perfect. Now let's just create an object here. Mobile object equals to new mobile, and the moment you do it, if you just run this program, let's see what happens. Just running this, see that the default value is actually being printed as 0. The moment you create a object for your class, your default the constructor is actually being called, and the values are actually being initialized, and we are printing them. If you notice, we didn't make any calls to this method. The moment you create an object, implicitly this method will be triggered, and this is what is known as your constructor, right? So this is how we can use it. Now in case if you want to pass any arguments to these constructors, we can still do that. Those type of constructors are typically known as parameterized constructors. So let's see one such example. So let's say I want to pass some values to this constructor. Int b, this is, let's say, x, and let's say this is y, and this is basically the value that is being passed here. Now before I print this, I just make this x to y. Okay, so whatever the value that we are getting here is being used to initialize this particular variable here. So let's say x, and the value of x is going to be this. But how do we pass a value to this particular constructor? You can pass it right from here. So let's say 12. Perfect. Now the value that I'm passing here while creating this object will actually be sent to this particular constructor here, and this particular value, which is 12 in this case, is going to be assigned to this x here, and we are going to print this. So basically, if you don't want to create any special method, and if you want to do something on the fly when you create an object, you can write that particular definition within a constructor like this. So let's say run this program, and if everything goes fine, the value should be 12. Perfect. So that is what is expected, right? So this is how you can use constructors in Java to initialize the objects, right? So I hope you have enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching it. See you in the next video.